In this video, we're going to talk about miniature storage. What you're seeing are my Dungeon Saga miniatures, and I have to get them in a storage solution. So let's get into this.
Welcome to Solitary RPG.
I've been a miniature gamer for decades now, and over the years, I have collected huge armies of models, and storing them and housing them is always a challenge. It's my collection and I'm very fond of it, but it's not something I can just leave out on shelves. It's just too big and I have to store this stuff. And I have come up with a very simple way to store my miniatures, and I want to share it with you in this video. What we're looking at here are my Dungeon Saga miniatures. I have been working on getting all the models painted for this game, and I've come to a point where, like, on my desk, I just can't keep these models anymore. I've got to box them up just to make room for the next batch of models. Plus, my Warhammer Quest miniatures, these are the next level miniatures, are starting to grow, and I need to get those put away. Plus, I keep buying more miniatures. So, if you're not familiar with a craft store called Michael's, something in the United States, they are now selling miniatures. These are Hobby Q, basically Reaper miniatures. You can tell by the packaging, it's very reminiscent of Reaper, just different card on the back. But I found the rats, which is awesome because I like rats, and Reaper has really cool rats, so I found the plastic ones. Plus this ogre, which just looks cool, and some treasure chests, which you can never have enough of those. So all of this stuff needs to get painted, and my collection continues to grow. So I got to get into storage. We're going to focus primarily on the Dungeon Saga stuff because that's what I have laid out. Just the amount of time that I've painted on these models, I am not one of those people that like to use vacuum form trays. Never liked them. You spend hours painting these models and then you plop them back into the plastic and they bounce around in the plastic if you're traveling, because that's what we do with our armies is we travel with them. So they bounce around in that plastic, and that could damage the paint. Even if you clear coat it, just the rubbing on the plastic can cause that. So I don't like using those, and I don't like foam trays. I just think that's a waste of money. I have foam trays that I've gotten over the years, and I just don't like using them. It's just a personal choice, and army bags and all that kind of. There's just so much stuff out there, and I'm cheap. If I'm going to spend money, I want to spend it on miniatures and paints and paintbrushes so that I can continue building my army, and I don't want to spend it on foam trays and other crap like that. So we're going to talk about how I store my models, but first we're going to take a tour of what I'm doing with my Dungeon Saga models. Miniatures themselves are pretty straightforward. Like this model, these were fun to paint. I got 3 of them. I just had a really good time painting these models. I did all the undead stuff first so I can do that first campaign, and then I'm going to do the goblins and the abyssal dwarfs and just kind of move through it as I play the game. Here's a zombie troll. All this stuff is being painted with speed paints, and then what I'm doing is I'm going back over the speed paints with regular paints and just highlighting and doing all kinds of glazing and different things like that to really get the colors to pop out and make it look like it's just not speed painted and done. But I do spend hours painting these models, and I don't want them to just get ruined afterwards. Now, all the terrain features that you're looking at, Mantic Game did not provide. Like, if you bought the big box set of Dungeon Saga, all this terrain was just thrown in a box and just shipped off to you, and that's how they do their terrain crates. They're just random pieces of terrain thrown in a box in bags, and that's it. There's no solution for how you're going to store it. And some of this stuff, like this table here, it's just a table and nothing else. So what I ended up doing is putting it on some plastic card that is from Games Workshop that is used for their Old World. Well, they've relaunched it as Old World. They make those movement trays, and they got this plastic card. I use that to create a base. I put magnet sheets underneath it, and I just get these business card magnet sheets from Michaels or Hobby Lobby, and I just glue that on. So now that it's magnetized and I can put it in my storage solution. And I do that with all the bits and bobs of terrain that come for Dungeon Saga. I even do it to the doors. I magnetize the bottoms of these so that they can be put on a metal sheet. Now let me get the metal sheet and show you what's going on. And what I have here is a piece of galvanized metal sheeting. You can see my terrible cut job right here. But what I can do with these now is put these on a metal sheet. And whoops, that one doesn't have a magnet. I can put these on a metal sheet, and now all of these have a storage place in my life. And as you can see, I'm tipping the sheet up and they're holding in place. They don't really jar around. So that is basically how those are being stored on the metal sheet. What I'm going to do for the miniatures is I have rare earth magnets. So I bought these off of Amazon, and you have to be careful on which ones you buy if you're going to do this, because the lip on these miniatures isn't very big. It's very thin, and you need to buy a very thin rare earth magnet so that you can put the magnet on it and it doesn't make the model uneven or wobbly, so that it holds it in place. And the way you do that is you go on Amazon, you start looking at rare earth magnets, and you kind of find the different thicknesses. These are super thin, and I forget the dimensions of them. I ordered these a long time ago because this is not the first army I've magnetized. But these are just going to get glued down on the base. Like this bigger model, I might have to use two of them to make it work. Smaller models, I can get away with one. All I have to do is get my Imperial Outpost Maxi Cure super glue. Once I have my glue, just put a little daub of glue down, put my rare earth magnet on that little daub of glue, and let it cure and dry and do all the magical things that it needs to do. But once you do that, you do not want to just set your miniature flat down back on your surface, your desk, or anything like that, because you just put super glue on the bottom of your base. So just lay it on its side, let that cure. There are people out there that like to use the zip kicker, which is a drying agent for that. I stay away from zip kicker. Yes, it can come in handy for certain situations, but it also makes CA glue a little bit more brittle. And I've had some terrible luck with that after spending hours of painting a model, and it just falls apart. But once you have that done and it's dry, got my metal sheet, got my miniature, and I'm holding this pretty much vertically on my camera here, you can see, and it's holding just fine. I will magnetize all these models so that way I can put them on this tray. Now this tray is quite big, as you can see. So what am I going to put this in? And that's where I'm going to have to flip over to some photos. I use banker boxes. I find banker boxes to be the best miniature storage solution, that if you're cheap like me and you have some basic skills in life of using a razor blade, you can cut the banker box down to make the height of it fit your miniatures, and you can then put your metal tray right inside of it, and then you can put all your miniatures in it, and you can stack those on top of each other. And I have a mountain of them stacked behind the door to my hobby room. Let me show you a picture. But you can see my armies, and you can see how they just stack up. Life is good. All my armies are nice and safe because banker boxes are designed to be stacked. I'm just putting plastic miniatures in it. There's not a lot of weight, so I could stack that stuff to the ceiling and be perfectly fine. So let me cut my box down, and then we'll put all this stuff together and keep moving forward. What you see here is the banker box. It's on my floor. I have my T-square out. You can use a yardstick or something else. I just happen to own a T-square because of home renovation projects. I'm going to take my knife, and I am just going to find a height of the box that basically fits my tallest miniature. And what's cool about these banker boxes is they have lines on them that you can reference for cutting. And then I'm cutting inside my house. So this carpet that I'm cutting on is just a cheap carpet I bought from Target. Please don't cut on solid surfaces like a wood floor. Be very careful not to cut all the way through. Like, be an adult about this and understand what you're doing is using a razor blade, cutting through cardboard. I normally do this in my garage. Once you've cut it, now you're just going to build the banker box as normal. Once you've built it, you're going to notice the sides of the banker box are taller than the box. What I do is I fold them around and I mark how much needs to be cut off, and then I cut them off. This is what we're creating, just this little fold over like that, and what it's going to do is it's going to help keep the lid on. And then I'm just going to use box tape to tape down the ends. So let me get that done real fast. And so now that we have our box done, I'm back on video. I don't like doing photos, but I kind of had no choice because this thing's so massive. But by folding the sides over like that, what's going to happen is the lid's going to fit a lot more securely, and the lid won't fall off because you've added some extra width to the box. So all we really have to do now is put our metal tray in here, and we're done. So now that we have our tray all done, I can just start putting my doors in here. I've got all these double wide doors, and I've got all of these single doors, which all need to get put away and stored, so that way I can make room on my desk for more miniatures to paint, because that's really what's going on, is I'm out of storage space just for holding the stuff that I'm painting. So that's why I've got to be able to put everything away. And then there's the miniature with the rare earth magnet. As you can see, I'm just kind of gently bouncing, like if I was driving and hitting a bumpy road. Like, everything's in place. Now obviously if you hit a real hard bump, things are gonna get moved around. That is to be expected, because these are just like regular magnets on the doors, but the rare earth magnets will probably hold up, over a jostled road or a bumpier road. But yeah, it takes a lot. But for just general storage, I'm just gonna walk from where I've got the box stored to my game room, like just walking in my house. Nothing's really moving around, and it's a good way of keeping your miniatures. So from here, I'm just going to put everything away in storage, finish getting everything magnetized. That way I can kind of get my desk cleared off and start my next batch of miniatures, which I want to get these rats done for Warhammer Quest. And yeah, I just got a lot of painting to do. So thanks for watching. I hope you found this video helpful with your miniature storage solutions, even for your board games. I get it. I'm an army guy. I paint big armies. I'm actually got a huge conquest army I want to get on the table soon. But yeah, if you're board games and you spend all this time painting these miniatures, then you're just, where do you put them? Here's a good option. So thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye.